Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me start the show off in the proper way that we do around here. Proper way we do around here. Oh boy. All right, so man, God of Dice back with another episode of the Audible here tonight. We'll be breaking down week 5. I ain't gonna lie, man. Been a long weekend. Long weekend. Those that know. But hey, it is what it is. I got to put the fan hood aside, come up here as an analyst and break down the action as I saw it. And where do we start? Where do we start? L of the week, man. Probably the most sorriest. I say second sorriest performance I've seen all year had to be turned in by the Dallas Cowboys. Oh man, give him another buzzer, man. Give me another. Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, running game, defense. Oh man, just horrible. I will not be responding to Gator Girl with the hate that she left in the comments. How about them boys? Woo, let's talk about it. Cowboys travel out to San Francisco, get smashed on primetime football, 42-10. Okay, let's really kind of digest this. You see the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Make sure it's at the bottom of the screen because I did want to. Who is the best team in the NFL, brother? For certain age, how you doing, good sir? How you doing, good sir? Best team in the NFL right now. It's got to be the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco went out there and dismantled a very good, still a very good Cowboys team. I'm still riding with my boys, but I got to call it like I call it. Got to, like I see it. Follow me on Twitter. You know how to put a question out there today. And it's been on my mind for a couple weeks, man. Couple weeks, based off what I've been seeing. I've been telling you guys, Red Sun offense has been a concern to me, and it kind of reared its ugly head a little bit on Sunday, but not so much. So I would say this: 8 years of Dak Prescott. Is it time for the boys to finally move on? Now, every quarterback in the league is not going to be Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to be a transcendent talent. They're not going to be. I agree with you, brother. They are the best team. How you doing, beautiful? Always a pleasure. Is it time to move on from Dak Prescott? We've got 8 years of tape. We got 8 years of footage. I've got 8 years of watching him. He's a good quarterback. I'm not going to. His performance on Sunday be damned. He's still a good quarterback. But to win in this league, to elevate, your team, you have to be great. Now I know great doesn't grow on trees, but the question I pose, and I've been going at it on Twitter with a lot of people about them boys, and mainly the people I've been going at are fans, or I like to call them stands. And like, I'm a fan of my team, man, but I'm honest about what I'm seeing. Dak ain't it. I've seen enough over 8 years to know Dak ain't it. Dak is a less turnover prone Kirk Cousins. Let's keep it. He's a good quarterback, but he does not elevate the play of his team. He does not elevate his play in the biggest of moments. Here it is, Sunday night football, biggest game of the season so far this season. You have San Francisco 49ers he came in undefeated, left undefeated. Biggest game you guys have been looking for. This game has been circled on the calendar. There's not only the fans, but the players came out and said it's been circled. It's a revenge game. That playoff loss we had against San Francisco stung, and you come out there and it is flat as all hell. Flat is all hell. I was pissed watching the game. I was pissed watching the game. Thankfully, I had something else to do a little bit later on that night. I was pissed. The play call, we'll get into the play call in just a sec, but Dak, for me, is not it. It's not it. Until Dak can show me that he elevates his play when it matters most, and I'm not even saying, hey man, you got to win, those games. But this is a game. This is what we call signature games. On the NFL schedule. These are games you circle on your calendar. I had this game circled. I got Philadelphia in a couple weeks circled on the calendar. These are called signature games. These what defines you as a player. And like I said, I like Dak is a good quarterback. I like the man. I like the man. I mean, one in a Walter Payton, another man, Walter Payton of the year, Walter Payton Award last year. Um, for his work that he does in the community, I like him. And Ms. Murphy, I hear you. I hear you. Can you get a team to the Super Bowl? I think Dak is capable of taking a team, and a keyword being take. I mean, being a competent enough quarterback to along with other things have to be in play to take a team to a Super Bowl. Other things have to be in play, but Dak just does. He just shown me his iffy when the chips are down, pressure is mounted, big games, eyes on you, everybody's watching. You fumble the bag. You fumble the bag, and I'm not going to sit up here and make Sunday's game all about Dak. Brother of a certain age, I Dak and Romo, good quarterbacks, man. I mean, good quarterbacks. Most teams will be happy to have them, but when it's time to elevate, man, you got to step up in those moments. Like I said, I could have dealt with a loss. Hey, you went out there, competed. It was a shootout or it was a grinding out game. Both defenses were dominating. I didn't get that. Now let's move on to the play calling. I was not satisfied with the play calling. Too predictable for my taste. The Cowboys' offense has become way too predictable. We know when you're in the shotgun, you're throwing the ball. When you're under center, you're running it. That's this Mike McCarthy scheme. Is as simple as all get out. It allowed San Francisco defense to kind of key in on those tendencies, and it was a bad game. Bad game. Now they do have to go back out to Cali. Got the Chargers on Monday Night Football. We'll see. We'll kind of break that down on Thursday's show when we look ahead to Week 6. But for the biggest game of the week, pretty much the only game that really mattered to me and most of the nation, Cowboys. You got to get this. And I, all respect to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not going to, toot your own home, but hey, you deserve it. Team of the week, probably the best team in the NFL. There's only two undefeated teams still loving us, them in Philly. Philly, we'll talk about it in just a second. We'll talk about them in just a second. But, that's kind of a wrap up on them. Chicago Bears, like I said, I've been kind of watching this team. I wasn't high on this team, but I'm more or less watching for the progress of Justin Fields. Had his best game as a pro last Thursday night game. Chicago went up there and did a thing against the Commanders. Congratulations to him. I know it's been reported, and it's, the reports came true. Claypool has been traded to the Dolphins. For what it's worth, he wasn't doing much anyway. But Justin Fields, it seems like that game to kind of let him more. He felt natural. If you watched the game on Thursday, he felt more natural in the pocket. And I said this in the preseason. If you didn't catch it, go check it out. I said this in the preseason. Chicago is a different team when Justin Fields is able to kind of feel more comfortable, and he's not forced to be in a type system. He's able to make reads more naturally when he's able to be him. And you got a taste of that last Thursday. Chicago smoked the Commanders. Not really much to go on with that one. Like you said, you still have Sam Howell. I think is off to a decent start, considering it's his first year starting. All things considered, I think Washington will be okay. But a big win for Chicago. DJ Moore went crazy. The combination between him and Fields seems to kind of clicked in that game. We'll see what it looks like with the rest of the season going forward. But congratulations to the Bears for finally getting a win. You know what? Just for them getting a win, I give them one of these. Yeah, they've earned it. They got their win of the season. Breaking down the rest of the Week 5 action. Had the early Sunday game over in London. Jacksonville beat Buffalo. It's like, to me, it's like two mirror teams. When I'm talking about Jacksonville and when I'm talking about Buffalo, two teams that you never know what you're going to get from Sunday to Sunday. It's that bit of inconsistency from both of these teams as far as their performances, where you don't know what you're going to get. Buffalo coming off the beatdown they put on Miami, comes out flat. Doesn't look like the game traveled with them to London. Jacksonville, up and down at best. Trevor Lawrence has been this season, but Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type teams is not as consistent, and inconsistency has been kind of like the theme. Here we are, week 5. I told you guys I don't wait to start really making real reactions about what I'm seeing until like week 5. And here we are, week 5. Do I have any confidence in Buffalo at this point in the season? No. Do I have any confidence in Jacksonville at this point in the season? No. This is too inconsistent for me. And there's a lot of inconsistency with a lot of the teams right now at the top of the league, probably with the exception of San Francisco. They don't Buffalo and Jacksonville. It was an okay game for what it's worth, but I expected Buffalo to come out and take care of business against what I thought was an inferior Jacksonville team. But hey, congratulations to Jacksonville for picking up the win. Then you have like another game, and this kind of goes deeper than that. We're talking about the New Orleans Saints shutting out the Patriots at home. Now the Patriots, two worst losses in the Bill Belichick era. Got smoked by Dallas, then got smoked by New Orleans. Question of the day, and I've been kind of seeing it on Twitter. How long do you stick? How long do you stick with Belichick? He's got the rings, he's got the cachet. If I'm Robert Kraft, do I come to him right now and say, hey, we're going to let you coach out the rest of the season? I would prefer for you to retire. That way you can leave gracefully. I would hate to fire you, but at this point, based off what I've seen from New England since Tom Brady exited, it ain't been good up there in New England. It ain't been good up in there in New England. And you've seen over the last couple of seasons since Brady's been gone, how he covered up a lot of the inconsistencies, a lot of the cracks in the armor of the Patriots, just by his stellar play. Tom Brady is that kind of a quarterback, when we kind of double back to Dak when I'm talking about this, that elevates the play of those around. That's what the great ones do. That's what they elevate those around them. It ain't about numbers. It's not about, hey, I'm a Cowboy fan. Troy Aikman elevate the players around him. He didn't put up gaudy numbers, but he elevated the players around him. But you're seeing it in New England. I'm thinking, hey, this is the final ride for Belichick. I think Belichick needs to go and get up out of there. If I'm him, go ahead, retire, save your dignity. Don't go out but getting fired by the New England Patriots. You've done enough. You have a Hall of Fame career. You have a Hall of Fame resume. Go in peace. Go in peace. I would hate for him to get fired at the end of the season, but that's where it looked like it's headed. New England is a team with no direction. You can't blame a general manager up there in New England. Belichick drafts all the players. Belichick is the GM, so you can't point to a GM, even though they have one in theory. But you can't point to a GM and say, hey, it's this guy's fault. He's not getting me the players. He's not getting me the talent. He's got to go. He's got to go. I think Belichick, this is his last year. Hey, man, this from him, just retire, dude. Like I say, and go out gracefully. Breaking down some of the other action from this past Sunday. Detroit put it up on the Panthers. Granted, the Panthers are a bad team. Let's keep it above. I think they're still the only winless team in the league. Still a bad team, but Detroit, I'm ready to put them in right now. Here we are at week 5. I'm ready to put them in that tier 1 echelon of teams in the NFC. Detroit has shown me enough through the first 5 weeks of the season to warrant that consideration. This is a team that gets after it on defense, has the capability to put up points against anybody in the league. And if you didn't catch on to the Detroit Lions bandwagon, don't worry, it's still a little bit of room left, but it's the seats are filling up. The seats are filling up. I was high on Detroit. If you've been following the show, I was high on Detroit last year, still high on Detroit this year. I like what they got going on up there. I like what they got going on there. I like the guys they are bringing in. I like how the young players are developing. It's a lot to like in Detroit. It's a lot to like in Detroit. Hey, depending on what they do at the quarterback situation, In the next couple of seasons, get used to saying the Detroit Lions in that conversation for tier one of the NFC. Detroit is for real. Detroit is for real. Speaking of for real, I told you guys Baltimore and Pittsburgh was a weird game to kind of break down because hey, this is a division game. These teams know each other, and I was telling you guys, hey, Baltimore is something that seems a little bit off. It's not just Baltimore, but we're gonna get into some other teams. It's stuff seems to be off. Yeah, you're winning, but it's kind of like smoke and mirrors. This is not a crystal clear image of what's really going on. And they went up there and let Pittsburgh handle them. Pittsburgh, pulls it off 17 to 10. A sloppy game if you watched it. It wasn't, aesthetically pleasing. I'm just going to say that. But it was a division game. It's what the Ravens and the Steelers do when they get together. It's not pretty. It's not one where you're going to be seeing a whole lot of highlights of guys going up and down the field. It's not one of those games. It's never been one of those games. But Baltimore, like I said, you got some work to do. You got some work to do. Congratulations for the Steelers for kind of picking themselves up after the bad performance they had the week before, and winning at home. Winning at home right now, they're leading the division based on the tiebreaker. Steelers was my dark horse coming into the season. Could they consider how Cincinnati is, started the year? Could Pittsburgh, win this division? I don't know. I think this division right now is up for anyone. I think anyone can take this division at this point. But congratulations to the Steelers for getting the win. Congratulations to them. Speaking of the AFC North, Bengals beat up on the Cardinals. I'm not going to put too much stock in. I will say this about the Cardinals: they are playing a lot better than I thought they would at this point in the season, considering that Kyler Murray has not been out there. Congratulations and kudos to Josh Dobbs for helping the offense and that team be respectable. But eventually talent kind of wins out. Eventually, a lot of these games, talent kind of wins out, and Arizona, might be looking for that. Might be looking at the top of the draft for a change. It's already been reported from leaked sources out of the Cardinals camp that they're going to plan to try to move on from Kyler Murray this offseason. Unless something drastically changes through the course of the season. If I'm Kyler Murray, if I'm Arizona, move me, get what you can for me. I want to start over somewhere. You want to start over for me. It didn't work out here. Let's just go our separate ways. But we'll kind of get into that when we get closer to the NFL all season, see about the rumors and stuff. But congratulations for Cincinnati for picking up the win. Speaking of picking up the win, Philadelphia, the other undefeated team, kind of held it together against a very game Rams team. I'm to you Eagles fans. I will say this. I know Miss Murphy's in the building. To you Eagles fans, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your Eagles right now? Based on what you've seen so far this season, you Eagles fans, and I know you're out there. How confident are you in what you're seeing? Do you think this is the same Eagles team as playing at the same level that they were last year? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident you are in your Eagles right now? Yes, Miss Murray, I was right about Detroit. Cincinnati, on the other hand, hey, it's still, I would say this, Miss Murray, it's still early enough in the season, and the division has been kind of up and down, where Cincinnati still may end up winning this division. They still may end up winning this division right now. They're just a game out of first place. They still may end up winning this division. AFC North has traditionally been one of the toughest divisions to really kind of call because it may be Cincinnati, it may be Baltimore. Cleveland has looked good at times this season. So I may not be wrong just yet on Cincinnati. Give me about to the end of the season, then you say I was wrong. About an 8, Miss Murray. Oh boy. Yeah, they won. Like I said, to beat the game Rams team 23-14. Philly is coming up with plays when they need to come up with them. We'll see. We'll see. The schedule kind of lightens up a little bit. They got a record wise, the teams that are playing got a bit of an easy stretch coming up. We'll see. I still have you guys circled on my calendar, and Miss Murphy, I still have a nice spot on my panel waiting for you when we win. I'm still confident in that. I'm a 10 on that. Eagles Cowboys week. You already know what it is around here. Some of the other games got to break down. Some of the notable games. I was going to say that some of the notable games. Jets beat up on the Broncos 31-21. They're making a lot of a big deal about the Nathaniel Hackett, return, especially off the comments that Sean Payton made about him in the offseason. I'm not going to make too much of it. Sean Payton said what he said. I mean, he felt how he felt. Hackett couldn't have been that good of a head coach. He got fired after 1 year. I'm not going to put all the blame on him, but he's got to take some of the blame. And the Jets quietly have kind of rallied around Zach Wilson. Have kind of, got out of the little funk of missing Aaron Rodgers, and they're playing pretty decent football last couple of weeks. Had a chance to beat Kansas City last week, get the win against a Denver team that is reportedly looking at the clean house, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Has been reported. Just about everybody is available for a possible trade. Now, it's a couple pieces on that defense I wouldn't trade, but hey, I get it. You got to start somewhere. The defense has not played up to expectations thus far this season. Denver had one of the better defenses last year, and this year they've been getting carved up week in and week out. Had the Monday night game yesterday, Raiders over the Packers. I watched about half of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I watched about half of it. Jordan Love, kind of in the same situation as the Sam Howell first year really starting, even though Jordan Love has been in the league a little bit longer than Sam Howell. His first year really started. Some of his reads last night, especially on a couple of those picks, very, very bad reads. Just eyeing down the receiver. We'll see if Green Bay can kind of get themselves together. The defense has played okay this year for them to be in a lot of these football games. I will say that the defense has stepped up in Green Bay. I'm not going to put too much stock into the Raiders getting a win. It wasn't a very pleasing game. It wasn't a very clean game. Had turnovers on both sides for both teams. But congratulations to the Raiders for picking up a win at home. I will say this about Vegas. It seems to be a very good home field advantage. Like the atmosphere is a little bit different when you're watching it on TV. So I'm curious to see what it looks like. When they actually get another national stage with it, later on in the season. That kind of wraps it up. Dolphins smoked the Giants. Not nothing to report there. I think I've gotten everybody that really matters. Chiefs, another one of those teams that keep winning, despite of. I'm not sure how long they can keep it up. But we'll kind of talk about that when we look forward to week 6. Let me kind of take a sneak peek at week 6. Any big games? Possibly the biggest game that I see. There's a couple of them they got my interest for next week. When we're talking about week 6, and we'll be doing that on Thursday, same bad time, same bad channel. Is probably for me, if I'm looking at it based on how the teams have played so far this season. Game of the week, probably Detroit and Tampa Bay. And I would have came into the season saying that in week 6. But I got Lions and Bucks is probably the game of the week. But we'll kind of talk about that when we do we'll kind of do that when we come back on Thursday and break it down. Wilson is garbage to me. Wilson has played, I would say this, Wilson has played better. If you're talking about Zach Wilson, he's played better over the last 2 weeks. If you're talking about Russ Wilson, it's been talks of if teams are interested, they're not telling you. Denver's telling teams we're open to your phone calls. We'll listen. Russ hasn't been the same since he's left Seattle, and I know a lot of it made in the media about he's changed since he got with Sierra. I'm not going to go that far, but Russ just doesn't seem that his body language says like I got something else going on besides football. I got other ventures. Like he seems a bit distracted. The level of preparation and the attitude, the body language on the field just kind of says that to me. When I'm watching the Denver play, that's what it says to me. You say poor G-Man. No, poor G-Man. Um, I don't know what you're gonna do up there, New York. I don't know what you're gonna do. Hopefully you don't, you just continue to fall, because I love it. Um, I don't know what you guys are doing up there. The Giants really don't have an identity. That was one of my concerns coming into the season. I mean, defensively they was pretty good last year, but it's not a unit that was set up to be a perennially dominant defense throughout the course of seasons after season. The one thing I can say about Pittsburgh always feels a good defense. The G-Man, had, like I said, a good year defensively last year. No Saquon. If I'm Saquon, hey, I'm encouraged by the money Jonathan Taylor got on his new deal. Shout out to him for getting his new deal. I'm encouraged by that, but I'm not rushing, especially with this offensive line that you got here in New York. I'm not rushing to get wide, so I can take another pounding. May not make it to free agency to possibly get paid. Yeah, I'm not rushing back from injury to run behind that line. Sorry, not sorry. So as we kind of close out the show, like I said, we'll be back over here on same bat time, same bat channel on Thursday. I've reached out to the good brother Speak Easy to see if I can get him for a Friday show. We can do like a part 2 of what we did on last Freestyle Friday over here. Like I said, I've reached out. I'm waiting for him to respond. If not, I'll try to catch him lacking somewhere, and we'll kind of do it like that. Tomorrow, I'm thinking of doing this show. Probably will. Doing a show in the other space, doing another kickback show. For those who've kind of watch me in the other space. Me and Slander have been kind of branching out, trying to do different stuff, and there's a part of that show I want to kind of expound on and expand the conversation on. So I will be probably doing a show tomorrow over there in the other space, and we'll be back over here for Friday, Freestyle Friday, special guest, be damned, whoever. We'll be doing that, and of course, the other show. That other show seems like I've got a little bit of material to work with, but yeah, we'll be doing that. But like I said, tomorrow be in the other space, we're doing another kickback. Make sure y'all tune in for that. Come join in on the conversation if you want to. And like I said, we'll be back over here Thursday breaking down week 6. Looking forward to that, and any news that kind of pops up between now and then. One last thing before I get up out of here. NBA season tips off, I want to say October 24th. I'm going to try to get in a preseason special. Do a special live on that. Looking forward to the NBA season. I won't be covering the NBA as long as football season's coming. Like if it's some major news or something like that, I may do something about it like that. But I probably won't be covering the NBA in depth until at least the season is over. Kind of like what we did last year on this channel. Especially for the playoffs, yeah, you can come here and get your playoff breakdowns and that kind of stuff. I will be uploading, the game footage for those who missed the games during the playoffs. I will be doing that. But yeah, got a lot going on, brother. Brother got a lot going on. Got my hands in a lot of other pots, working on some stuff in another space to try to get that channel going. I've gotten some subs over there. Trying to do something a little bit different with that channel. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. Remember, like, share, subscribe. It's always appreciated. Leave a comment. Unless you're Gator Girl, I don't need to hate. I don't need a reminder. We still them boys. At the end of the day, we still them boys. But I had to break down my team tonight. We still them boys. We still them boys. End you off with the phrase that pays over here. Yeah, I gotta remember where I'm at now. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.